campaign trail today after last night's big face-off. Compared to recent debates, it was fairly civil and relatively restrained. And while the conversation mostly centered on the issues, finally, it was not without some memorable moments and a few significant faux pas.
The expansion of Israel and its proxies is an absolute fundamental necessity for the United States to have the steady leadership. You made a question about experts, said this. I've made a note of this. Economists don't be trusted. Science can't be trusted. National security folks can't be trusted. Look, if you're going to be president, you don't have all the answers. Donald Trump believes he does. My pro tip of the day is this. If you need heart surgery, listen to the people at the Mayo Clinic. I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect. And I'm a knucklehead at times.
First of all, the gross majority of what we need to do at the southern border is just empowering law enforcement to do their job. I've been to the southern border more than our borders are. Kamala Harris has been, and it's actually heartbreaking.
I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it.
I believe that we actually do have a threat to democracy in this country, but unfortunately, it's not the threat to democracy that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz want to talk about. It is the threat of censorship. It's Americans casting aside lifelong friendships because of disagreements over politics. It's big technology companies silencing their fellow citizens. And it's Kamala Harris saying that rather than debate and persuade her fellow Americans, she'd like to censor people who engage in misinformation.
And joining us with more, Chief White House Correspondent James Rosen. James.
Greetings from Midtown Manhattan, the site of last night's vice presidential debate held by CBS News. Perhaps the defining moment came when the Democratic nominee for vice president, Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota, mentioned that his 17-year-old son had witnessed a shooting. That prompted the Republican nominee, Senator JD Vance of Ohio, to express sympathies to the Walz family on that account, adding, "Christ have mercy," which isn't to say that the two sides didn't take aim at the respective top of the two tickets. Hanging over the debate was the extraordinary and worrisome set of events yesterday in the Middle East, where Iran responded to Israeli bombing campaigns against Tehran's terror proxies by firing off a barrage of missiles against the Jewish state, almost all of which were shot down near Tel Aviv by Israeli and American air defenses. Last night, both debaters claimed it was the weakness of the other side that has emboldened the Islamic regime.
We had a coalition of nations that had boxed Iran's nuclear program in, the inability to advance it. Donald Trump pulled that program and put nothing else in its place. So Iran is closer to a nuclear weapon than they were before because of Donald Trump's fickle leadership.
Iran, which launched this attack, has received over $100 billion in unfrozen assets thanks to the Kamala Harris administration. What do they use that money for? They use it to buy weapons that they're now launching against our allies and, God forbid, potentially launching against the United States as well.
The consensus among most of the political reporters who were present in the media filing center for last night's big debate was that Senator Vance handily won it. His answers were smoother and more well-rounded, where Governor Walz stumbled from the opening when he was asked about Iran, and then again when he was confronted with his prior false statement to have been present in Hong Kong during the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre, a question that most observers expected to be posed to him and for which the governor appeared unprepared. The consensus also was that Senator Vance positioned himself quite well for 2028 should his ticket come up short on election night. Reporting from Midtown Manhattan, James Rosen, back to you.